Well, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, it looks like, is on his way out from the Trump administration. And I want to kind of go through the timeline of the evolution of this story just today, okay? Because when I woke up this morning, I saw a Daily Mail article that said Dan Bongino set to quit the Trump administration after FBI job put strain on his marriage. And that was the only thing. It was just a rumor, right? And it was like, oh, apparently, according to sources, he has started boxing up his stuff that's in his office. Some of his employees are also doing the same. And it also said Bongino's reported intention to step down just comes 2 days before the deadline to release the Epstein files on Friday, which I found interesting. But we did know, I mean, there were some signs of this that I want to go through, and then I want to get to what President Trump said today. So first, I want to play Dan Bongino on Fox News, maybe 6 months ago, where he was like, oh, it's so sad because, I miss my wife. And it's like, very strange to me because I'm thinking to myself, you knew what this was going into this, buddy. Why the sudden turnaround? Here's some of that.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment, but I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., by myself, divorced from my wife, not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, we love each other and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI, you're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I mean, there have been so many signs where I've been like, this is like weak ass energy. This is not the Dan Bongino that went on the #1 ranked podcast and just blasted all of these bureaucrats into next week. Like, this is very weak, weird energy. The entirety of his existence at the FBI this time around has been so strange. And by the way, it's not just him. It's Kash Patel as well. But then we saw, how many months ago was it? Not that long ago when they brought in the co-deputy director. And then it was like, okay, it feels like this is just a matter of time until there's some shakeup because you can never have a co-deputy director. That's not a shared position. That needs to be one person or else there's going to be a whole set of problems. And now fast forward to today where President Trump was asked about these rumors and in his very Trump way seemed to confirm it, I guess, whether or not Dan Bongino was ready for the information to be released. Here's what President Trump said.
Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show.
I think he wants to go back to his show. I think he wants to go back to podcasting. I am rendered speechless. One of the only moments in my life.
Well, I mean, look, I want to preface this by saying that we all love Dan Bongino.
I do. He's done so much for the country. And I by the way, I appreciate the sacrifice that he mentioned, but it's like, yeah, we know. Can you stop complaining? Do your job?
I think this is my take on it. Dan is a patriot. We all, knew when he gave up his show that he was sacrificing millions of dollars for the country. I think that, by the way, and also we, as you said, it's not like he's someone that came out of something completely different to go into the FBI. He knows the job. Mm-hmm. He knows the job. Mm-hmm. So he knew what the strain would be on his marriage. And I'm not saying that it's not having a strain on his marriage, but what I will say is those difficulties are worth it if you are seeing a change and if you are seeing results.
Right.
Those things are not worth it if you are not seeing results.
Right.
That's where I'm looking at. Like, what would we do right now? What would you do as Sara Gonzales to give up your show if you knew you could go into the federal government and work with RFK and change things? You'd do. But if you got there and if things weren't moving, if you were being told, no, you can't and I'm not saying this has happened, right? But I'm just saying, no, you can't release this, or you're going up the chain of command and you're not getting done what you really want to get done. You'd be like, and he's the kind of guy that would say, I can do more back on my show.
Right.
And he would be absolutely right.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that's where I think it is.
Well, and that's why I mentioned that this whole thing is surrounding this Epstein files deadline. And it's like, is this meant to send a signal to everyone that this wasn't his fault? He tried hard. I mean, you saw him in his social media posts where he would say things like, you guys have no idea what I've uncovered. Like, you won't believe it. I mean, he's leaving all of these nuggets to make it sound like, oh, we are uncovering all sorts of crazy things. I can't wait to share it with you. And then we never quite got the other part of that, right? We never were told really what it is. And so you have to wonder, like, okay, he must be very frustrated. But then who is that frustration with? For me, it's got to be Pam Bondi. And that's got to be why Dan Bongino and Kash Patel sat there on their Fox News interview where they looked like they were being held at gunpoint, trying to answer questions to the best of their ability so they didn't get in trouble. They didn't get like a whipping from their boss the next day. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because it's not just the FBI that is a shit show. It's the entire DOJ.
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen anything out of all of these releases of Tulsi Gabbard showing that Obama was involved in the Russia collusion and the Russia hoax? That would be, hello, knock, knock. That would be the DOJ. I mean, there are so many balls that they have dropped. You have Pam Bondi, who's like, yes, we're definitely going to release the Jeffrey Epstein cell footage. And then it's like, oh, there's a missing minute. And she's like, I'm not sure on that. Let me get back to you. Just you name botched investigation after botched investigation after the snowy foot method that we just saw. It's like, you laugh so you don't cry, you know? And it feels like if there is someone who would have forced out Dan Bongino, who clearly was devoted to the cause, it doesn't feel like it would be a Kash Patel, who also would be someone who was devoted to the cause. It feels like it would be Fox News star Pam Bondi.
Well, look, I mean, we both know the content of the character. Well, everybody does. Everybody watching the show knows what a good man Dan Bongino is. Yeah. I mean, that is beyond reproach. So let's put that in a box for a minute. We met Kash, just before he got the job. He wanted to take it to him. We know that, and everyone saw it. It's a weird thing with that. With the AG's job, like, Republicans have just been dreadful in that role, and the Democrats have weaponized it, as far as they're concerned, absolutely brilliantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, all you've got to do is look at the Republicans that have taken that job, and they've been a nightmare. They haven't done anything.
Right. I know. They're weaponizing it against us because they want to arrest us all and throw us in federal prison, and we won't even go after the actual criminals.
It's unbelievable. It is. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, look, I think that, Kash and Dan, probably a good team. And Dan is more frustrated, and he has a life that he can go off, and he's got a family. Mm-hmm. He's got a job that he can leave. And like I said, he can do well, do good for the country with his podcast. It will bounce right the way back again. But it's incredibly disappointing when these people need to go to jail, and we're just not seeing it. And look, we all said it. We all said at the very beginning. We went, listen, we'll give Pam Bondi a shot, but really it should have been Ken Paxton. Let's be honest, it should have been Ken Paxton.
Never would have gone this way if it was Ken Paxton. I can tell you that with absolute certainty. My friend Ken Paxton would have had that shit solved like that. So I guess we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on it. I mean, like I said, the co-deputy director right now is Andrew Bailey, who was the Attorney General of Missouri. He is very, very conservative. Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's really good. You assume once Dan finally formally announces, Andrew Bailey just steps into that role as the regular deputy director, which is kind of how it was supposed to be in the first place. The co-thing is weird. So we'll keep an eye on it. But I don't, that doesn't feel golden agey to me. I don't like it.
I just wish that Dan could leave with a win.
I know.
You know what I mean? It just feels like he's been beaten out of it.
Just totally deflated.
That's what it feels like for me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I would want him to have a win because
I
he's
agree.
a good man.
He is. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.